Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Banter. I don't know the last time when I was on this. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, I feel like you were
I
on
went
here
for like a
bit ago.
month stretch where I was gone. And then I found out last night I'm back today.
I think you were on it
heck
with
yeah.
Robbie.
I was on with Robbie.
Yeah,
Robbie
that's
was
right.
side
Side guy, right,
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
But hey, I'm always excited when I'm back on the Banter. It's always a good time. Before we get too far into the show, though, I got to tell you about today's sponsor. 2024 is here in full swing, and that means that it's time for a New Year's resolution check-in with our friends over at Manscaped. New flash, it's never too late to level up your grooming game and keep yourself tamed. Manscaped's new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Whether you're going for a trim or that clean-shaven look, this trimmer has you covered. Trusted by over 10 million men worldwide, now is the time to get a grip on your grooming game with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use code BANTER20 for 20% off plus free shipping. Let me introduce the MVP of 2024, Manscaped's 5th-generation lawnmower. It's not just a trimmer, it's your grooming sidekick. It has 2 skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and a brand new foil blade for going smooth wherever you desire. And did we mention it's waterproof? Because a trim in the shower is the only way to start the day, so let's face it. Resolutions might come and go, but a well-groomed you is here to stay thanks to Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BANTER20 at manscaped.com. Embrace a new you and definitely embrace a new trimmer, courtesy of Manscaped.
We love Manscaped.
Yes, indeed. I just ordered some more beard oil yesterday because I'd got the conditioner before, and I used Grip Locked. So if I'd known we had Banter,
Nice.
I would have supported the Banter. So I didn't know we had the Banter.
Nah, we need as much Grip Lock support as we can. So there's been a ongoing merch battle between Grip Lock and Tour
Right.
Life. It's been heated. It's been close. Checked my phone yesterday when I got into work, just like, hey, what's going on? What's going down? And I see that there was like 13 items purchased on Sunday, February 11th. And I was like, what did Brody do?
Oh, yeah.
Like, how did Brody push this? What happened? So I go in.
Dude,
I
you must
start,
have put a tweet out or
yeah,
something.
I was going through his Twitter. I was like, Brody didn't push this anywhere. I was like, what? How did this happen? So then I dug deeper, and I find out that it's all Edwin Stats
Yep.
merch. It's just going crazy.
Yep, I saw that.
I'm like,
over the
Edwin
weekend.
Stats is popping off. This is the best merch we've ever put out. What's happened? It was Edwin.
Yep.
He was just buying for his friends and family. And in doing so, he created a huge gap. So now Tour Life has a 12-unit lead after a 13-unit purchase, meaning they should be net down 1. But Edwin, man, undercover agent.
Have y'all marked a date for like when the final tallies are going to happen, or is it just
It's just
ongoing?
it's a year long.
Okay, good. Because I
Brody's-
haven't bought any yet. At some point, I'll buy some myself.
Brody
but I
said
still
it's a
haven't.
race to 1,000 units.
Okay.
So that's
That's
probably
gonna
more.
take a
That's
while.
probably more than a year long.
Yeah.
But hey,
Yeah.
we're in it. Honestly, it's closer than I expected. I thought we were gonna get.
It's funny. You can always tell, like, we'll get a push over. Like, we had a Tour Life was last night in this order. This morning there was a bunch of Tour Life stuff.
Yeah.
And after Grip Lock, there'll be a bunch of. So it's funny to see that ebb and flow. Then the
That's
weekend,
so funny.
see who was willing to push it to see what happens.
I was
So-
at Konner. I went and looked this morning because I was trying to look through how many of like Edwin. It's hard to see because the Edwin stat merch just kind of dominates February right
Yeah.
now, courtesy of Edwin. But I was just seeing like the stats, and year to date, the Konner horse is shirt number 1, and Who's Got It, Con's
Who's
Got
Got
It is
It,
number
Con's
2.
No
Got it.
way.
The
That's
top 2 selling
awesome.
merch items. So it's the year of the con.
That's so funny. That's really
con
funny.
man.
Well, I
if you
did
will.
buy 45 big con shirts. So
It's interesting.
yeah.
Not that many came through.
Oh yeah, I returned half of them.
Oh, okay.
They were in the cart though. I just let them
Yeah.
sit.
That's what Trevor and I were talking of, like, who can we convince to just buy 20 items of Grip Lock merch? So if you're listening and you're interested, hit us up. We can't really offer you anything.
Listen.
It does have to be purchased through the site.
My mom still doesn't know that the Who's Got It, Con's Got It shirt exists. If that was a part of the Grip Lock collection,
I'll
you
text
get
her.
at least a couple more.
It's not a part of the Grip Lock collection. Does she like Konner horse? Does she want your head with wings?
I don't know if she'll like that one.
The funniest thing is we created it as we were like, well, we don't have the Yuli horse, the Konner horse. It'd be funny. It's outsold every piece of Yuli horse.
That
merch.
is just
That's
that is so.
fantastic.
We did push it pretty hard though.
We pushed it very hard. Well, Brody even wore it for Tour Life because his tweet got enough likes.
Right,
So
sure.
even Tour Life's pushed that one.
Connor, I can't hear you in my headphones. Can you hear yourself?
I can't hear myself. Let me see.
I just want to make sure that the mic's going through because I can hear me and Hunter, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Do you guys remember that commercial? Can you hear
Yes,
me now?
I
Okay,
do.
to make sure. I know
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
are quite young, but if you remember that.
I was
so.
surprised. Geico leading up to the Super Bowl was pushing like the caveman commercials were coming back.
Yeah.
I really thought their big reveal was going to be like so easy a caveman can do it during the Super Bowl.
I don't
They
even.
didn't do
There
it.
wasn't. There wasn't even a Geico.
I was saying, I don't think I
commercial.
saw a Geico commercial.
I thought I may be thinking about them pushing it beforehand. I may be mixing beforehand and the actual Super Bowl. So
Because they had like at first he like had like a nightmare and woke up and was like, they just made a punchline out of me.
Yeah.
Like that whole thing. And then they were supposed to have like the caveman documentary and turn it on. It was actually about the gecko. And it was just like him talking about it.
Right.
And so I was just waiting for, because they changed it to be like, so easy. Well, so they did have to say so easy a caveman can do it. Very funny. And I was just waiting for like the big reunion. I was like, this is all leading up to like one of the greatest Super Bowl commercials of all time. And he didn't do anything with it.
I
just assumed it was going to be there.
Dang. Jason, what do you think about the Super Bowl?
I had no skin in the game, financially or even from a fan's perspective. So I actually only watched the first half.
You watched the bad half.
I watched the bad half. I went over to a friend's. I went over to Dakota's house. You guys know Dakota.
Yeah.
And so we watched it, and it was very, very boring.
Yeah.
And so then at halftime, we started playing games, and we played games through the third quarter, and then I left. So
there you go. That's fair.
I heard the second half was more exciting. So
it was more exciting. It was
the first half.
Yeah, it was overall just a kind of a mess Super Bowl. I really wanted the Lions to be in it. I don't really have an NFL team, but I like an underdog story.
Yep.
So I could get behind the Lions. Then the Super Bowl day, I was rooting for the Chiefs just because I felt like that cemented them as the like arch nemesis of the NFL.
Yep. I was rooting for the 49ers because everybody said, the NFL was bought and paid for and they'd already scripted it.
Yeah.
That the Chiefs were going to win. So I want to be like, no, it's not.
I just like, no offense to Alabama, but I like when the whole country can root against one team.
Yeah.
It unifies so much, because like you always I always knew a few Patriot fans. But when it would come Super Bowl time, it's just so much fun to just crap on them the whole time leading up to the Super Bowl. Saying like Alabama,
for sure.
I have before I met you, one of my only Alabama fan I knew is a guy that went to my high school, went to Alabama. And so, whenever, every year it felt like, or every other year when they're in the, championship game, with this most recent one, I was rooting for him. But obviously that didn't work out too
Same
bad.
reason I rooted against Duke. I had no reason. But I love Coach Krzyzewski, right? Same way people love Coach Saban, but want to hate against Alabama.
Yeah.
Coach K I always loved, but I always root against. Unless they're playing Auburn or Tennessee pretty much.
Because it's also fun on the flip side, being a Duke fan, of like, it's fun to be like Duke versus the world.
Right.
That's how it feels a lot of times.
Yep.
I get that.
And,
That's funny.
I know Yankees fans feel similar, I'm sure. And like now I feel like the Chiefs, it got sped up a little bit with Taylor Swift this year.
Yeah.
That kind of just made everyone hate the Chiefs anyways.
Yeah.
But I feel like now just performance-wise.
I would say it made more people like them.
It made more people like
a bit of both, right?
Yeah. It made more true football fans hate
Yes,
the Chiefs.
yeah.
But I feel like this Super Bowl just cemented them of like, no, now you just hate them because they're so good. You know what I mean? They were already kind of there, but that was the only reason. The 49ers, the only reason I don't really like them is I just don't like the combination of red and gold. Just don't like how it looks out there. Yeah. It just doesn't. It doesn't look inspiring to me. It doesn't look athletic to me out there.
Watch the Redskins, McDonald's.
Yeah, I don't like Redskins. Well, my family grew up Cowboys fans.
Oh, okay, there.
So by nature, I didn't like the Redskins. Yep. I also, a lot of Virginia Tech fans around here. Burgundy and orange just don't really.
Yeah,
they don't go well with me.
I don't mind it if I think about it as like it's like it feels like a vintage sports team.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like.
A little bit. I've never been a big Tech guy. I should have been. I mean, I rooted for Tech when both my cousins went there, but like, I just couldn't do it. I can't do it. As much as I hate to say it, if I had to choose between Tech and UVA, I would choose UVA. It feels like they feel more like an ACC school than Tech does.
I agree.
I know they both are.
Even though they both are, even though I'm an SEC guy, I'd always feel like Tech was on the outside looking in, even though they were inside ACC.
They never feel like, being a Duke fan, when you go to play like Tech in anything, it just never feels like an ACC game. I don't know if it's the colors.
I don't know what that means.
Because the other thing is, for some reason to me, I think we talked about this a little bit during football season.
What is an ACC game?
They're a conference, Atlantic Coast Conference.
Why does it not feel like that?
I don't know. Just like the look and vibe of like a bunch of ACC schools just have like a similar look and vibe, like color-wise, the like.
It's very clean because you think of UNC, you think of North Carolina State, all of their logos, all their lettering and script. Just
it's all
clear.
like white
UVA
in a color or like black in a color. It's like all like very simple like that.
Yeah, it just for some reason Virginia, but because I feel like Georgia feels like an ACC team.
Yeah, well, I grew up in the SEC,
so
they feel they're definitely
because like whenever I see
that.
them, whenever I see that like big G, I hate the logo, but whenever I see that, because it's just the Packers logo, right? Just Georgia instead, different colors.
No,
I feel like
it's not just a Packers logo.
What is the Packers? What is the G I'm thinking of?
We may be thinking about the Green Bay Packers, but
Let me look
it
at
just
the
happens
Packers
to be a G. Well, the other thing about Tech too, and they lived by this. They were very much of the blue collar Western Virginia kind of thing. And ACC was a lot of academic schools who were better than everybody. And Virginia Tech's like they used to have their little lunchbox. Like their thing for years
Jason,
was the lunchbox.
I don't know. Look at that. That's the Georgia G.
All right.
That's the Packers G.
Packers must have copied.
This is tough. There's the Packers G.
I've been corrected.
And that's the Georgia G.
Oh,
it looks like a high school team. You know, like Nelson
Yeah.
County locally, they're just the UNC logo, but it's green and yellow. Like
my high school, or my middle school and high school I went to was the Panthers, and the logo was just the Carolina.
So I think
Panthers.
that's Georgia. But for some reason, like the red, white, and black, like I don't know, like I think Alabama, Ole Miss, like there's a lot of like Auburn, there's a lot of like script kind of feeling letter in the SEC, and then Georgia's just like clean, kind of modern looking, and like it just feels like an ACC school for some reason.
That's funny.
I think we switched Tech. Tech feels more like an SEC school to me.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think we switched Tech in
could fit in
Georgia.
for SEC.
Yeah, that would be great actually for y'all because you can just steamroll Tech every year. Their
Jason,
football team sucks.
What are you talking about with the lunchbox?
So Virginia Tech, they're like, so like a lot of football teams have a thing that helps motivate them or inspire them. Like a lot of them have like the turnover chains. And for starters, Alabama actually had that belt long before Miami or anybody else did. Alabama has like
now like everyone has one.
like a world, WCW belt. If you get a turnover, like you intercept the ball or recover a fumble, you come to the sideline, they give you a belt. Other teams have like turnover chains and different crazy stuff. But when I was in high school, so like we're talking a long time ago, Va Tech they basically had a lunchbox because they're just workmen. They get up there and out there work. I mean, the guys could correct us, but that's basically they're blue collar workers. They work really hard. They're not all about flash. They're not all about cool uniforms or anything else. They just come out there and play. So
I feel like you guys just made me like Tech more.
One of the most
one of the reasons I like Tech. I could see that.
One of the best sporting environments you'll ever go to is a Virginia Tech football game. Though.
Yeah.
When mainly you walk in there, and then the game I went to was a sold out game. I'm sure it's still. Most of their games sell out, but when they play Inner Sandman before they walk out and the whole stadium starts jumping, and it's like Lane Stadium's just like this old concrete stadium, and you feel it. Like the whole thing is just bumping. Like I can't imagine being a player in that tunnel
and
just hearing Inner Sandman pumping, the whole stadium's jumping. Like I'm trying to think. It was they what's the earthquake graph? Richter scale. One of their a few of their games have registered on the Richter scale. From people jumping to Inner Sandman before they run out.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And like every college football season, some sports thing posts the video. I think it was when they played Clemson or when they played someone. And every year it just gives me chills. I'm not a Tech fan by any means, but you just watch certain sporting like things, and it just gets you amped up.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can run out of that tunnel and not be just ready to just wreck someone. It's great.
You are right though. The colors of Tech are pretty much like the hideous pairing you could do.
Yeah,
just like a deep, like almost burgundy red, which is like bright orange.
Yeah,
it's hideous.
Similar to the hat you have on right now, honestly.
Yes,
that little orange to the Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah, that yellow's. Yeah, but hey,
I didn't mean that to criticize your hat.
No, that's
okay. Like I was dissing your hat.
I didn't make the hat. It's okay.
I normally keep my Virginia Tech UVA feelings to myself because this is Tech country.
Yeah.
You don't.
I will say I did feel like I'm not a huge sports person, but like I felt the feeling of like, you know, whenever you see somebody who roots for like the same team as you, except for I've never rooted for this team, but I just felt like pride of like, yeah, that's the area that I'm from, because I was doing a gig in like the Charlotte area, North Carolina, and I saw a kid there who had a Virginia Tech like hoodie on.
Yeah.
And I was thinking in my head, I was like, heck yeah. Because I was like, I live there.
Well, I mean, at this point, Liberty's the best football program in the state.
Yeah,
we're the best Virginia football program.
Wow,
go Flames.
UVA. The other problem is UVA and Virginia Tech. They're not even in the conversation.
Right.
It's between JMU and Liberty. that's where the football programs in Virginia have gotten to.
That's pretty sad.
Now Tech fans will try to argue that, but you can't. You know, I mean, the team's terrible right now.
Let's listen to them try to argue.
Yeah,
Ready?
let's listen. Actually, should I call Noah?
Yeah.
He's a huge Tech fan.
Yes, you should.
Let me call him.
Yeah, he's at the warehouse right now. So.
Oh, perfect.
Get him to try to convince you to be a Tech fan.
I'll be like, Noah, you're on the Banter. What's your argument? What's his last name?
Burchett.
There,
Burchett.
yeah.
Something like that.
Konner,
Connor, do you follow any sports at all? In your life, have you is that a thing you even follow other than
my family played sports? Like my sister played soccer her whole life, so we would go to those games and we would support them. We just didn't follow any
Noah,
on TV.
You're live on the Banter right now. We're crapping on Virginia Tech, and I just wanted to give you a platform to try to defend your school and maybe argue as to why you might think that you're the good football program. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Historically, Virginia and Virginia sports collegiate football, we have a profound history of 10 seasons. We've made it to a national championship. Had a very consistent 15-ish year period, late 90s and up to around 2011. Now, Beamer probably retired a little too late, and then we had a bad hire, but we're building. Had better recruiting classes. We improved by 4 wins from Brent Pry's first year, and a lot of people were predicting us to be in the top 25 at some point next year. I'm guaranteed at least an 8-win season next year, if not 9 or 10.
So, would you agree or disagree with the statement that the Liberty Flames are a better football program than Virginia Tech right now?
See, I'm in a weird because Liberty's one game they played a Power 5 opponent and lost really badly. No, they are not a better football program than Virginia Tech.
Would you say JMU's better than Virginia Tech?
Absolutely not. JMU's a joke.
All right. There you have it.
Okay, here's the record. Okay, let's give you the record, Noah, for the last few years. This past year, Virginia Tech 7-6. The year before, 3-8.
Ooh, that's a rough year.
The year before, 6-7.
One of those 3 wins.
The year before, 5-6. It doesn't matter, Noah. There's no justification. I'm sorry, man. You can't justify 3 straight seasons under 500 for
tough.
a Power 5 school with all that history.
That is tough. All right. Appreciate you, Noah.
Of course.
He was very calm and collected.
He was calm and collected.
was.
I wanted to get him riled up.
I think it's because it sounds like there's not really much that he could do to defend.
No.
Right?
No, there's not much
He was
there.
back into the corner. Now, he continued to share. He's been sharing the basketball stuff lately. I don't know how they're doing in basketball. Maybe Virginia Tech is having a good basketball year. Who knows?
I don't think so. I'll look it up. We can find that out quickly.
That's really no.
Alabama's climbing back up. They fell out of the top 25, then they beat Auburn. I think they're 5-1 their last.
This
6
is
games,
a
so
very
they're back to the top
exciting.
15.
This is a very exciting basketball season because every team that's they're the top team,
Right.
they just get knocked off
Get
by an
knocked
unranked
off.
opponent, left and right.
Yep.
And I think that
Kansas lost by 29 last
They
night
have.
or something crazy.
and then Duke was up there at the beginning of the season. We've had some ugly losses. UNC has lost 3 out of their last 5. They were just up there. Lost to Syracuse last night. Go Orange.
That's why you shared
yeah,
that.
I shared
Syracuse.
that.
I figured it.
I'm trying to think who else. Someone else just lost. There was one week where 5 of the top 6 teams lost to unranked opponents in 1 week.
And that's all. That's what college basketball is fantastic.
That's what I can't wait for March Madness this year, because the NIL, as much as it sucks for college athletics, it does make it where this is the most level playing field
Yep.
maybe of all time. It's going to be incredible. Virginia Tech is 6-7 in the conference, and what are they? Where's their overall? Oh, wins loss right there. They're 14-10, so they're above 500 on the season, but 6-7 in the conference. They're not at the bottom of the conference. Right. Louisville's 3-11.
Louisville used to be
Louisville, Notre Dame, and Georgia Tech are the bottom of the conference.
Notre Dame comes and goes.
Yeah, Georgia Tech I feel like it's the same.
Yeah.
Boston College is down. They're always down there. Boston College is poor team. Sorry, guys. But yeah, Duke, UNC, UVA up top right now.
I've only been to the March Madness once, and we actually got in the local newspaper for it.
Oh.
So we went. It was when Xander was not even a year. My oldest was not even a year. So we're talking 21 years ago. This was it. So we were living in Georgia at the time, and they were playing in Charleston.
Okay.
I think they were playing in Charleston or Greenville. Either way, we went up there, and the game was sold out. So we literally put a sign on Xander's stroller. We're all decked out in Alabama gear. And I put a sign over him that says, "Help! I need tickets to the game. I need to see my first Alabama game," or something like that.
That's
so the local news reporter were there just reporting on the tournament. Took a photo of us, and we got this really big photo in the Greenville Times or something. And we got tickets too because
that's awesome.
Someone heard because at the time, I don't know if it's still the way. At the time, South Carolina, it was a no scalping state, so you couldn't sell tickets. We saw cops arresting people.
Yeah.
Wow.
There on site. You could sell for face value. And we luckily heard some other folks who had some tickets to sell for us for face value. So we were able to get tickets to the game. They ended up losing to Kent State. That was the year Kent State made them run to the Elite Eight. And it was great. It was good for Kent State to make that Elite Eight run. But it was still fun for us to get in the Duke was actually at that regional as well. We got to see Duke play in the game.
I went to March Madness once, I think. I traveled with Liberty to go watch. It was it was my junior year of high school, senior year of high school. No, it might have been sophomore. Because we made fun of him for it because he became our they were doing the play-in game, and it was J.C. Sanders was I guess he was their point guard, but he was one of their guards, and he had the game-winning layup, got fouled, very obviously got fouled, missed it up in Dayton, Ohio, and so we flew home, lost by 2. And if we would have won, we would have been a 16 or 15 seeds. We would have traveled with the team to go and watch them play Louisville.
Yeah,
would have been who we were matched up against back then. But then he was our basketball coach at my high school the next year.
How crazy!
So when we would do layup lines, now looking back, this had to be a really bad moment for him. He just lost in March Madness, and it was his final game of his career in college, and we would do layup lines, just recreate his missed layup over and over. We used to have guys run down, foul the guy, and just throw it up.
That reveals so much about Hunter Psyche right there.
That was
right?
He was a good sport about it. He thought it was funny, but that was just what our basketball team did.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
At that time, nowadays, I would never do that.
Right.
Because now I understand what that moment would have meant. But back then,
right, you're a kid,
we were at a small high school basketball. We'd never been in a moment like that. I had no idea how much that was probably all he thinks about. Dang. But yeah, that was the only night I got to go to March Madness. I got to watch Duke win the ACC tournament in 2015, and they went on to win, I think it was 2015. No, maybe I went to the 2010 one when they won 2010. I got to see the 2015 team, but I don't think I went to the ACC tournament in 2015. I think I went in 2010. Yeah, because I didn't see Grayson Allen at the tournament. But yeah, 2010 I think was the only one ACC tournament I got to watch. We normally go to a Duke game a year. I'm going to one this year. Normally, it's if they go to UVA, we'll go watch UVA versus Duke. And then I try to go to, get tickets to go to Cameron Indoor.
Yeah.
Once. I'll never forget my, back when I was in middle school. No, I had to be younger than that because J.J. Redick was playing. He's the reason I'm a Duke fan, was J.J. Redick.
I was a big Redick fan. Still am to this day.
Yeah, absolutely love him. Love J.J. Redick. And I got to see him play at Duke maybe once or twice. I got to meet, he's from Roanoke, so he did a meet and greet in Roanoke, and I got to meet him, have him sign a picture and stuff.
That's cool.
Cool.
But we went down there because Liberty was playing Duke women's basketball in Cameron Indoor. And so we got tickets because, local team going down there. Yeah. And it was a doubleheader that day. So Liberty played Duke for the women's basketball game, and then Duke men's played right after. Well, my dad didn't tell me because we took my grandparents are really big Liberty women's basketball fans, so they wanted to go. We had a caravan of 2 or 3 cars, and people were riding with us, and so we had a bunch of people down there with us. So my dad didn't tell me that at that time the tickets got you into both games. Oh. So when we were leaving, there was a family walking in and they were trying to get tickets to go to watch the Duke basketball team play at Cameron Indoor. Mm-hmm. And my dad goes, "Oh, you know what? Just take them. Just take these. We're leaving. We're driving home. You can have them. If you know any friends that have them, all these tickets are good for both games. We just wanted to watch this game." They're like, "Are you serious?" And they took them. And I stopped my dad. I'm like, "What? We can go watch JJ Redick play right now?" He's like, "No, son, we can't." I'm like, "You said the tickets are good for both games." He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Then what? Let's go watch JJ Redick." He's like, "Hunter, we can't. We're going home." And I was so upset. I'm sure I threw a crying fit. I don't remember. I was 4 or 5, and because JJ Redick was my hero, and I had a chance to watch him at Cameron Indoor, and my dad was just like, "Hunter, no, we're here to watch this game. We're going home." I was like, I didn't understand. I was like, "Hey, we gotta watch it."
That's really funny.
Didn't get to see it.
Konner, have you gone to any professional sporting events? Or any? I'm sure you've gone to some college ones while you're at Liberty, just with your friends.
I've been to just to Liberty games.
But have you ever gone to any other professional sports events? I'm not trying to publicly shame you. I'm just trying to.
No,
because often church youth groups go church. I mean, because a lot of the trips I took was when I was in my youth group or helping with youth groups. We went to a lot of Atlanta stuff when I was in Georgia.
I'm surprised to think if I haven't been to a Panthers game, but I don't think I have.
Yeah.
I went to a Monster Jam.
Heck yeah!
I've never been to a Monster Jam.
I've been to Hurricanes games.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we went to a lot of Checkers games growing up, which was like the like small league in Charlotte.
Hockey?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I don't, not anything professional. No, I don't think so.
My kids, I tried to bring my kids up watching sports, and they just don't. So it was a crusher. So like my life, because I still follow sports lightly, but when they had no interest in sports at all, it just slowly drained the life out of me. But then I became a better father and accepted them for who they were.
Well,
so.
neither one of my parents followed sports, or cared specifically about a certain sport. My dad played like for our church softball team and really loved that. And then my sister like had interest in soccer. So then, of course, my dad got like to support that, got really into soccer and became like her soccer coach for her team. That's cool. And so we all like went to every single game and supported her for that. But my oldest sister, they put her in like every single sport, and sports wasn't for her. So she didn't do any of that.
That's what it was for my kids. We put them in everything when they were younger, and then Hannah kind of stuck with swimming, and she even did synchronized swimming for a while in Tampa, which was really cool. But like, we brought our kids up as fans. So Hannah, she's my middle one, my daughter, she still will watch Alabama. Like she came over for the playoff game. But when we were when they were kids, we dressed them up on game day. We all had our Alabama gear no matter where we were. So we'd be in Germany, all decked out in Alabama gear.
That's funny.
This is a true story. We were at Neuschwanstein, the Disney castle, like in Germany, the big famous one if you've seen it. We were touring it, and it was a game day, and there's another person, randomly another American Alabama fan who we saw each other like, roll tide, and just kept on going. Didn't even talk to each other. That's just the way the Alabama fans roll.
That's awesome.
Like you'd be in Europe and see it or wherever else, and you see that Alabama hat.
Small
roll
world.
tide.
That's awesome. Yeah, we didn't. I was the same thing. I was my parents put me in like different sports. Yeah. And just I quit t-ball because it was too hot outside, and the classic ran the wrong way around the bases, didn't understand what was happening. I quit soccer because my sister played soccer, and so I would, whenever I was the goalie, I like stop the ball with my hands, and our like coach was like, nope, you can't use your hands. And I was like, yes, you can. As long as I'm inside the square, I can touch the ball with my hands. And they're like, no, you're not allowed to do that, not with our age group. And I was like, my dad is a soccer coach, and I know that I'm allowed to touch the ball with my hand. And then I quit because I didn't like that. and so I stuck to music. And then I found disc golf, which was a sport that I very much kept up with. And I was like, I finally understood what it was like to cheer for, like, I mean, not like a team, but it was the first time that I ever, during a sport, stood up and yelled at the TV. And that's anytime Ricky Wysocki took the lead over Paul Macbeth. I was just screaming death threats at him. But I feel like I finally, like, have a way to express this way that I felt for a long time that I feel like people never understand. I always just look super pretentious whenever I really love a certain style of music or I really love a certain artist and they become like wildly popular and like I'm kind of bitter about it. Yeah. And like I know that there's not really a good reason for that, but like it just kind of like I don't know. And I know people have like a hard time understanding that a lot of times. And the answer is always like they're getting more publicity now, so now they're going to be able to go to like even more places. Right. You should be excited about that. I'm like, yeah, but it just doesn't like feel the same. I finally have a way to express it to people, to sports people, because it's like the feeling that people who are football fans had whenever all the Taylor Swift fans flooded into football.
Well, you're better. You're even
because
better
it's like being appreciated by people. It's like being like not taken over, but like wildly viewed by people who can't really appreciate it.
Yeah. The example that's been around in sports for a long time is like the fair weather fans. Yeah. Like if you're the Detroit Lions, great example. They were 0-16. I said that right, I think.
Okay.
A few years ago. 0-win seasons. They still had fans during that 0-win season. Mm-hmm. They have a lot more fans now that they had a chance at going to the Super Bowl. Like they actually had a little bit of a playoff run and they had a really good team this year. And the fans who were there at 0-16 will see people out and be like, you can't wear that. You're not allowed to root for them. You weren't there. Like you aren't allowed to. Like that's just there's fair. Like it's the same thing like bandwagon teams. Yep. Like the Golden State Warriors, people who were fans of them back when I think they were the Supersonics, or did the Supersonics go to the Supersonics were the Thunder. Yeah. They transitioned to the Thunder. But people who were fans of like a team like the Cavaliers, Cleveland Cavaliers, where like they don't have a ton of success, and then LeBron comes in, and then out of nowhere they have all these fans because of LeBron, and then they know as soon as LeBron leaves, all these fans are gonna leave. Just like right now, people know if Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce break up, those Swifties are going to now hate the Chiefs.
Yeah,
it's like you don't have the right to wear that uniform. I suffered for this uniform. You can't do it. Yeah, it's
like I this is how like I used to be awful. I used to be so pretentious. And I still am in ways. So part of getting older is everybody's part of getting older is just recognizing how much pride you have, and if you haven't realized how much pride you have, you're not mature yet. And so it's trying to get rid of that pride. So I find ways to get around my pride now these days, and so I don't hate people like Ed Sheeran anymore, because I realize, you know what, he's fine. And but like whenever Wagon Wheel became wildly popular because Darius Rucker sang it, it pissed me off.
I was
so
the same way
much.
because old Crow, man.
Yeah,
so,
dude.
Yeah.
And so it made me so angry. And all these people. I also used to have a little bit of a preconceived notion about country music because the middle school I went to, everybody was rednecks, and it made me angry. Now I'm a redneck, so I'd probably get along with them. But they like it. Whenever it became like so wildly popular, it made me so angry. Because like, guys, this song existed before, and now this guy who was better with Hootie and the Blowfish thinks that he can sing it, and that it's like, but it doesn't matter.
Have you seen Old Crow Medicine Show in live? Oh, it was great. I saw them at Montgomery. So.
I saw them at the Ovens Auditorium in Charlotte, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
The lead singer of Old Crow, he like plays the fiddle with the band as well, but he's insane because he'll be like just like singing, and like he has like a stagehand that's like handing him his fiddle, and so he'll just be like singing, and before you know it, the stagehand has the fiddle up to his neck, and he just like is like walking like with the mic on the stand, and is just holding like this and starts playing the fiddle. Like they have it so like choreographed perfectly to where it's so awesome.
Wagon Wheel just celebrated 20 years. Did you see that?
I didn't.
That's how
see
old that song is.
That's crazy.
I didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah.
But
because it's originally written by Bob Dylan.
Part of it was
but
written
originally
by Bob Dylan,
performed by Old Crow.
Right, and
so,
they modified it some.
Yeah.
And there's a line that's like heading down west from the Cumberland Gap. Well, the Cumberland Gap is actually east, and so like they even acknowledge that there's a line in there that's not actually geographically correct.
That's
so,
funny.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Well, that's like which one? The song Country Road.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch
John
of debate. Is it actually about West Virginia or the western part of Virginia? Because it's supposed to be about the western part of Virginia. But West Virginia's made it their own.
Like I never thought about that.
If you listen to everything in the song, like it's all about
geographically.
It's about Western Virginia.
That's funny.
But
I have to go listen to that song.
West Virginia's made it theirs.
That's
play at the warehouse.
So I mean, they say West Virginia. Mountain Mama, so like that's fair.
Yeah.
But allegedly it's supposed to be about the western part of Virginia.
Western Virginia.
It's just like because like West Virginia, like we technically live in Southwest Virginia.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we're in West Virginia.
Yeah.
We're just not in West Virginia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The way that I feel about like one of the most recent things that have like driven me crazy. Driven me crazy is like the huge rise of Noah Kahan. So Noah Kahan has become super popular as an artist. He's like more of like the like folk acoustic Americana vibes, and he's become like crazy popular recently, and like all these random high schoolers are in love with Noah Kahan, but he's just playing folk Americana music, which has been like my whole life of listening to music. Is like I've always loved that stuff. And so like what was fun for me throughout middle school and high school was I would just watch small nobody acoustic sessions of artists just like that, just playing music just like that. And so it drives me crazy whenever people are like, yeah, this is like the crazy next big thing with music. I'm like, no, that's been huge for a while. And there's a lot of people, like, I think Noah Kahan is good. Won't listen to his stuff, though, out of pride, because I'm like, there's people who do that style way better. And, like, he's just, for some reason, made it to the right TikToker, found his music, and now he's, like, wildly popular. And it just...
Well, that's like, obviously, TikTok has changed drastically, all of that, but...
because you have people like, well, this
just
takes,
takes
TikTok.
It just takes like one or two viral clips of 6 seconds of a song.
Well, what's his name? Oliver
Twist.
Yeah, Oliver Twist.
Oliver Anthony.
Oliver Anthony was an overnight got crazy popular.
He's not that popular anymore. He's kind of like.
Well, he was.
I mean, he's way more popular than he was.
Right. He's touring Europe right now, so.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But the...
Wait, what do they don't understand what he's singing about.
They may not understand the plight, but they can... They speak English. They
No,
understand
what
the
do you
word.
mean? We love taxes.
More tea. The back in my senior year of high school ish is when I Will Wait came out, Mumford and Sons. My brother was a huge Mumford and Sons fan.
Same.
And then when I
Still
Will
am,
Wait
or I
came
was.
out and then took off, he hated Mumford and Sons. He just turned his whole back on him. He just everything about him.
Yeah.
He went from because like I liked like The Cave and like what's the
Little
Lion
Lion
Man. Like I liked those songs, but I wasn't like a
little bit of
diehard.
language in Little Lion
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, a little
Unfortunately,
bit.
though.
My brother would
They're
always
from
it
London.
down.
They're from London. It's
my
okay.
brother
Yeah,
would
you're
always.
right.
His car had a mute button.
Yep.
That like
Yep.
you just like could mute it and then
Yeah.
unmute.
Oh yeah.
My car, if I do it, it pauses music, so
Okay.
can't really censor it. But Jimmy would always censor
Yep.
that, so we'd be driving.
It up
Yeah,
this time.
every time. So like every chorus, like it would be just like blaring in his car, and then it'd be like, and keep going.
My band would cover that song at gigs, but we would just say messed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
That's
works.
fun. That's true.
I wish they had a clean version.
Have you seen-
I love that song.
Have you seen Mumford and Sons live?
I haven't.
They're-
It was always a dream of mine to
It
watch
is.
them in Red
We were
Rocks.
like in the nosebleed sections, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like just the vibe of it, because they're a better live band. Like their albums are fine, but that's the kind of group like Old Crow that live
Yeah.
is much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
thought
they-
it was so funny.
It was the Delta tour, and so they had a stage in the middle, and it was a circular stage.
Oh, heck
So
yeah.
Marcus would go from one side to the next, to one end to the next, and had microphones set up all around the stage. So he just moved from one mic to the next and singing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Well, that's what Jimmy went through. That of like, because then when I Will Wait got really popular, I really liked that song. Because
Yeah.
I'm a very casual music fan.
Yeah.
I don't have a diehard favorite artist, or like I've been to like 3 concerts my entire life.
Oh, wow.
Like it's just not really
Yeah.
my thing. I love listening to music. I just never been. So when I Will Wait comes out, I just took it for what it was. I was like, that's a good, fun song. I didn't care
Yeah.
who wrote it or who sang
Right.
it. And Jimmy just like, started turning his back. He's like, they're just selling out. This isn't it. Like, they shouldn't be this big. Same thing for the Muse.
Yep.
He
Muse,
loved the Muse.
Yeah.
And then he went to like see him at the John Paul Jones Arena in Charlottesville. He was like,
They're
came
pretty
back.
big, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but
But
they,
that
like,
one song,
they Hysteria, I think
Yeah.
it was, really blew up. It was the same thing. Jimmy was like, people just don't get it, man.
and
Like,
that song definitely is not their best song.
yeah. But
No. But Mumford, I understand Jimmy's
That's how I
point
felt
there.
about Coldplay. I'm just kidding.
Coldplay's a
the only band I experienced it with, the only band was Family Force 5. Because they went from the like kind of punk rock.
Yeah.
It was the lyric. If you listen to it now, like very dumb songs.
Yeah.
But in high school and like middle school, those songs were sick. Dance on Cardboard, you kidding me? And then they turned into a techno punk
It was like
band.
pop, yeah.
And just like, and that's when people started liking them in my high school. I'm like,
Yeah.
you don't understand what this band used to be. They sold out. That's the only band I've ever like had that feeling with. And it's Family Force 5. Like of all
funny.
things. Like when they dropped Cray Button, I was like, what is this? This is gross. Apparently they're still sick live, because apparently they like refuse to do techno. I say still. In high school.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're still performing.
I don't know.
But when they came out with the like,
I'll have to go to Winter Jam and let you know.
when they came out with that like techno punk album, which was literally probably like 2014, 2015. Gosh, we're old. That was 10 years ago.
Wow.
My 10-year high school reunion's next year.
Wow.
That's where I'm at in life. When they came out with that, when they came out with that, though, some of my friends still went to a Family Force 5 concert, and they said they refused to be, like, they were still a band. They refused to be, like, a techno. So, like,
Okay.
all of the parts that were, like, just probably made on a computer, they just played
Yeah.
on guitar. So they
Yeah.
were still, like, a really rock, like,
yeah.
heavy band
Yep.
Yeah.
on this. And I was like, that would be sick. Why didn't they just record that? That's the only band I really experienced it with.
That's the way I'm a little bit with Avett Brothers, because when I found Avett Brothers, they were still more folksy.
I think
So
we all have the same taste in music.
we do have very similar
we
taste
do.
in music.
Yeah.
And then later years, they added more electric stuff, which wasn't bad, but it wasn't what made me love the Avett Brothers. So
I did stop listening to the Avett Brothers. I really loved them, but then they just went kind of a weird route. Their music honestly just kind of got a little bit boring, and
I
also
agree.
started to get more political. And I'm not sure that we lined up either, so it just kind of became kind of weird. But I did see Avett Brothers. I saw them. I wish I saw them at the Bojangles Coliseum whenever they did that live album, because that's like one of my favorite live albums of all time. But I saw them at it was somewhere in Greensboro, but I saw them for their New Year's show.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. Because
now that we're
they're
close
known
enough
for that New Year's
now that we're
show.
close enough to drive to it, we'd like to. We were supposed to see them in Alabama, but it was during COVID. So the concert, we had bought the tickets, and the concert got canceled. And when they rescheduled it, it was in Birmingham still, but we had to come. It was actually the weekend we had to come get the kids like 2 years ago or something to move them back. So I've been to a lot of concerts. Like in college, I went to I was a big folk artist fan.
Yeah.
So I literally went and saw the Indigo Girls 5 times in
that's
2
awesome.
years. I've seen Dave Matthews 4 or 5 times. Saw them at Red Rocks. Fantastic.
Oh, that'd be
seeing them again. They even did a 4-day stint at Red Rocks and released a live album. So we were at one of the albums that's released now for a live show.
Wow.
We were at that album. We were at
That's
that
cool.
concert. So we were a big. My first concert ever was Rolling Stones with my dad.
Wow.
The Steel Wheels tour. He's like, you smell that, Jason? I was like, yeah. He goes, that's what marijuana smells like. Okay, thanks, Dad. Now I know what marijuana.
Now every time
smells
you
like.
play disc golf, you're like, Rolling Stones.
Yeah, Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger. So yeah.
That's funny. I loved all that stuff. I loved the Avett Brothers. We that was like my band in high school. That was what we wanted to be. We wanted to be Mumford & Sons, and we wanted to be Avett Brothers, but we knew that we were doing coffee shops and bar gigs and festivals where nobody knew that stuff. So the way that we got around it was we literally took pop songs and we turned them into folk songs. So that's how we played the music we loved by just adapting Imagine Dragons and like all these and Beyonce and all this stuff and turned it into folk music.
That'd be cool.
And it was really fun like that. But we also did throw in stuff. We did play a lot of Mumford & Sons.
Yeah.
We opened up a lot of shows with I've been locking myself up in my house for some time. Yeah, Talk on Indolence.
Yeah.
And that was it always gave people a nice taste of like this is what this is going to be like. It's a bunch of like teenagers who are going to be yelling at you the whole show.
Different version of punk rock. It's just folk punk rock.
Yes,
You're just yelling at them. So,
I did because my first concert ever was Anne Boleyn and the Vine Center at Liberty.
That's awesome.
Great concert.
That would be awesome.
That's why the Feel Good drag still just gets me pumped up every time I hear it play. And then I'm trying to think, the only other concert I remember going to was Lynchstock, which was like Lynchburg's Woodstock. I don't know. Do they still do it? I don't think they do it. I haven't heard about it.
I think they.
I didn't. I'm granted, last year was my first year here, but I don't remember seeing it.
It used to be really big.
They've done it semi-recently.
I think COVID somewhat shut it down a little bit. But they used to do it right here in the field behind Benjamin's.
Okay.
And they had a stage inside of Benjamin's.
They did it whenever I was
like
at Liberty because I did go to one.
Yeah, they had it like one stage was inside of Benjamin's restaurant. They just like the back room. They cleared it all out, and you could fit there's probably like 150 people that could fit into there. Then the main stage was just in the field, and the field would just fill up. And then they had like a alternate stage over here. And so there's, a few thousand people would come and just, I felt like, and just fill that, like it was standing room only in that field.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think it was a bunch of like local bands. Like it was a bunch of bands you hadn't heard of, but they were all solid.
Yeah.
The best one was, they've gotten a lot, The Last Bison. They were from Charlottesville.
Okay.
I really liked them. They were like a folky type. They never got big, but they got a lot bigger than Lynchstock. But yeah, Jimmy and I went, and it was just like an all-day thing. We just popped around because a few of his friends played in like some of the bands,
That's cool.
And so
I really feel like there was a
remember.
Lynchstock whenever I was in school because I know I went and saw.
Well, yeah, that would have been my senior year of high school.
Okay.
Because I think it ran through because they moved it downtown.
Yeah.
Because it got too big for that field.
Because I saw the
downtown.
Lone Bellow downtown at some point during college, and I really, really liked them. But I think it was for something like that.
My last concert was actually during Seafall 2 years ago or 3 years ago when Skillet was here. So
yeah.
I love Skillet. I've seen Skillet I think 4 times now. So we saw Skillet in For King and Country.
That's fun.
We saw Skillet at they used to do a free Christian music fest in Alabama called In Fuego, and like Toby Mac would come, Lecrae would come, Skillet would come. It was all free, but you just couldn't bring any food in, so you had to pay for all your food. There's how they made the food. So
I've been to a decent bit of concerts. I think my very first concert was DC Talk, and
you saw it. I say I've never I never saw DC Talk.
I saw it was DC Talk and the David Crowder band.
Oh wow.
Like in concert, and it was awesome. David Crowder brought out a Guitar Hero guitar that he had like modded to like play stuff, and was playing that, and it was awesome.
I'm an older guy, but DC Talk's still my all-time favorite. So
Yeah.
Kevin Max has gone a little off the deep end. I don't know if you followed him at all.
I haven't.
Politically, so unsurprisingly, he's kind of gone off a little deep end. Actually, I think I told the story before, but I met Toby Mac at Epcot. of
No
all
way.
places. Yeah,
That's crazy.
They used to do. Forgot what it's called. They used to do a Christian music like fest at Disney World, a separate ticketed event, and we were like at the China Pavilion at Epcot. Me and Hannah were, and we were walking out, and I was like, "That guy looked familiar." I turned around, I was like, "Toby Mac." And he turned around, and so I got to go talk to Toby Mac and got a photo with him.
That's
so.
awesome.
My friend, like 2 months ago, sent me a Snapchat selfie because he lives in Nashville right now, and he just was at the gym, and Toby Mac was working out next to him.
That's
and just
crazy.
Sent me a selfie of him and Toby Mac.
that's
I responded. I said, "How did you recognize him?" Like, I don't think if right now, like in high school, I would have recognized Toby Mac.
Uh-huh.
If he walked in right now, no shot.
He looks pretty similar.
He looks
honestly.
pretty similar.
I just don't
agree.
think
the
it would-
older version.
I don't
of
think
that
it
guy.
would click with me. 2018 was the last Lynch doc.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. The,
Okay, then
the
maybe it
co-founder of it, I forgot about this. The co-founder of it died in 2014.
Oh.
So I think he was the one that was like doing a lot for it. And so then 2015 to 2018, a lot of it was like in his memory and, you know, raising money for his family with GoFundMe and stuff like that. And so I think that the other person just like either wasn't as passionate or just like, because it was big. I mean, it had
That
to
would
be,
be
it had to
sick.
be profitable. You'd imagine it was
That
a
would
very
be
big
sick if,
thing. But yeah,
if they brought
2018
it back.
when it was gone.
Lynchburg is actually a sneaky music town. I've got, because we have a lot of people.
They call us the Nashville of the East.
There are, I will say, there are genuinely people who call Lynchburg Little Nashville, and it's because the music scene in Lynchburg is actually pretty intense. There are plenty of producers and plenty of artists for you to collab with, pretty much a infinite number of them, of pretty much any style. A lot of indie artists, which I like, but there's a lot of definitely a lot less country than Nashville. But I've got a lot of friends who went to Nashville and they came back here because they had so many gigs here that they like. I've got a producer friend that literally was about to move to Nashville to be a producer, but he had so many producer gigs here that were readily available to him. He was like, "Why would I move to Nashville to have less gigs and have no friends?"
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm trying to think. There was a dude. I wish his name would come to me. He went to my high school, and he was just disgusting on the electric guitar, like just gross. And he went on. He like had some like he didn't really have a solo career. He just released a few projects solo, but he played for a ton of like big bands.
Oh, that's cool.
Like he would. I think he might have even toured with someone. Gosh, what was his name? But yeah, I mean Lynchburg. Obviously, most of it's Liberty.
Yeah.
Just from people coming to the music school, or just, I mean, Liberty has so many people that just talented people show up.
Yeah, that is true.
It's funny, like this total pivot here, but it's funny how we use negative terms to say positive things, like disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting. It was just gross, but it was awesome.
I like it. I think it's fun.
It is fun.
So I'm like, wait, is he actually being critical right now, or is he being positive? I think he's being positive. Okay, I got it. So.
Yeah, I don't think I ever use disgusting if I'm relating to skill in a negative way.
It's always positive.
Not
Like, I
with
don't think-
skill.
No, with
yeah.
skill. Like if I
Yeah,
say like,
okay, yeah.
oh, water's disgusting. Yeah, that
Yeah.
water is gross. But if I say like someone's disgusting at disc golf, I don't think I ever use
True.
it as
I guess if it doesn't make sense in the context, then it's positive.
same thing with like sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I say someone's sick at something, I'm sure people can say like that dude's just gross at disc golf. Or like, well, I don't know, because if I say someone's form's gross, I'm not complimenting them.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if I'm like,
that's
his
true.
disc golf form is just gross.
Context matters.
Yeah. But if I'm like, oh, dude, he is gross at disc golf, then that means good.
Yeah, it's true.
That's why the American language is hard.
Yes.
Not English, American language.
It's like if you're describing. No, yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
No, there's no real
Yeah.
rhyme or reason. It's just like the tone someone says it.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like, dude,
You just have to
that guy's
talk to him.
form's kind of gross. Versus, oh my gosh, his form's gross, dude.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just I don't know. You just gotta know it.
You just gotta know it.
You just gotta know it. If you don't know it, then you don't know it. You know it.
Yeah.
They don't know it.
They
or,
don't.
or they do.
Or they do. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Roll that die.
Let's roll that die. Jason, I have a immature question for you if
I
you're okay
love
with it.
immature questions.
Do you think that poop's onomatopoeia, the word poop?
Yeah.
We were debating it yesterday.
Can you define onomatopoeia for the audience?
Yes,
for those who don't know
onomatopoeia
what onomatopoeia means.
is basically a word that sounds like
I know what it means, by the way. I wasn't asking him to define it for me.
You're
I actually was an English
weren't you?
major in
Yeah.
college, so
Yeah, onomatopoeia is like
A word
basically
that
a
sounds
word
like
that
the action
sounds
it
like the
describes.
meaning of the word.
Yeah.
plop.
Like plop.
Click.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that on the course yesterday, and we were like, I was like, well, if you think about it, poop was probably onomatopoeia.
Or
and then we were just like,
You should do
we're
a series
wait
like,
minute.
what is it? Robbie has a T-bird or a T-pad thoughts or something. You should have, something like that. I had
The
it just
majority-
felt like
Friends in the fairway.
Friends
We were
in the
talking the
fairway.
other
We
day-
talk about poop.
If
So,
people wanted to know what it was like behind the scenes of every foundation
Yeah.
video, like whenever the camera's off, we are spending, for some reason, we always come back to at one point during every video, we are researching to see what the original meaning of a phrase
Of a
was,
phrase is
or
every
where
time.
it's usually me being like I'll say something and be like, what does that even mean? Like, where does that come from? And then we look it up and then
Yep.
we talk about it. And we're like, that doesn't make sense, or like that's weird, or usually turns out a lot of phrases that people say these days originated in some sketchy history.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that. I was talking to Elizabeth. So, do you know what? If you say something, say, "Oh, I haven't drank the Kool-Aid on that." Do you know what?
Yeah, it's from being poisoned.
It's
That,
from Jim Jones.
Yeah.
I think it's Jim Jones, a cult that they
yeah.
all drank
Yeah.
poison-laced Kool-Aid. But we'll say that,
Like, don't drink the Kool-Aid.
right? Don't drink the Kool-Aid, or like, "Oh, I haven't drank the Kool-Aid on that." Like, I'm not a big fan of Mumford and Sons. I haven't drank
Yeah.
the Kool-Aid on that.
Yeah.
I'm like, but that's actually really
Yeah, it's
bad
not. It's
Yeah.
very
context of
insensitive.
that. But I still had it slips out of my mouth, and I don't. This
Well,
morning I was
it's
just thinking
not-
about that. It's so random.
It's not as common as a phrase nowadays, I
Right,
feel
yeah.
like. But when I was in like high school, like everyone used
Yep.
that. Like not in
Yeah.
our high school, but like adults. It'd be like if someone like came home talking about like back then greens, like drinking greens was like the like weird hippie
yeah.
thing to do.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
like, so that was just the first thing that came to my mind. But like someone was like all in on a green superfood.
Yep.
Then it'd be like, oh, he's drinking the Kool-Aid that
Yeah.
the chiropractor's feeding him or whatever. Like nowadays, I mean AG1 and stuff, like there's so much science behind it now.
Yeah.
But back then it was just like the new hippie thing.
Uh-huh.
But
Right.
but yeah, drink the Kool-Aid. That used to be a big thing. Let's see what this dice has to say, huh? Really, it still just wants to roll everywhere.
It's a really good rolling dice. I'm gonna do a little barrier here.
I like that. Trevor.
Trev dog.
T-Dog.
Big trip.
It's Trevor again.
again.
All right, I'm gonna be the barrier's just gonna stay here this time. Trevor
my
again. This die's loaded. This die's loaded.
It's so funny because it didn't land on Trevor.
It's
for a
Trevor
long
again.
time. Oh my god!
No, it was the wheel. The die loves Trevor.
Oh,
The
okay.
wheel hates Trevor. Silas.
Side guy.
Silas.
Trevor, side
Silas,
guy.
and
Nice.
Con.
All right.
There you have. What, Connor, you want to tell us what noise we're making?
Yeah, I think
Do
that
we still
should,
do the noise?
We
haven't
can.
done-
It's just whenever we think of it.
Oh, okay.
We
thought
should
of it.
do the sound of that box opening, the die
Okay,
box,
I
like
got it.
so like a board game box. It's you opening a board game box.
I got it. Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
That was me holding it here. I forgot the bang at the end.
You just stole that because I was gonna do that, but I'm still gonna do it.
You
so.
can.
It's a boom.
There you go.
Nice. This is mine.
And then this is actual. You know, I
Yeah,
think if we
yeah,
can
yeah.
recreate it, we can just.
It's pretty
That was
good.
my entry.
Yeah. Wow.
That was
good,
all with my
Hunter.
mouth if you're listening on audio. All right. See you next week.